Basically, I work in the domain of IoT and data mining and machine learning also. Some of the challenges which I personally felt that comes for IoT domain. So we will discuss that part also. So today's outline is what is IoT. I will not go in depth because most of you know about IoT, and in this workshop we have previous speakers already have taught you or a speech about that IoT. Then we will little bit see evaluation of IoT, then building blocks of IoT, then layers of IoT. Why we are in this domain, why we are recalling these topics, because if you know what is IoT and what are the building blocks and what are the layer, there itself you can say you will get challenges of IoT. So challenges of IoT is whatever the IoT challenges are there in IoT, those belongs to building blocks or layers. Layers means architecture layer of the IoT. So we will see that part. Then I will provide you some of the research needs which is needed in this current scenario, in current world. Basically, where we can use the application of IoT. So we will see some of them. Then what are the improvements and what are the research works you can do in IoTs? So that comes under next generation IoT. So we will see some of them. And if you want to work on this, most welcome. You can collaborate with me. We can do something good in this domain. So let's start. So in the starting itself, what is IoT? Can anyone say something about IoT? Those who are joining us in this workshop. If you want, you can raise your hand, or if you want, you can start speaking. Not an issue.
Okay, sir. Now we start.
उसको कहते हैं कि आप बोल दो ना, यही बोल दो।
मैं बोल देता हूँ ना।
All candidate, please enable your camera. All participants.
Okay. If you want to speak, you can enable your speaker and then start.
Sir, please start, sir.
Okay, sir. So what is IoT? So IoT is basically it's a network of physical devices, vehicles, home appliances, and other items. Okay, so which you can say embedded with electronics, software, sensor, actuators, then connectivities. Mainly, these are the building blocks. What are there? They are electronics part of the system, software, then we have sensors, then connectivity, or you can say the internet or network. And what they are creating network of physical appliance or physical devices which are there in this world, and we basically know them as thing like my laptop, like my washing machine, my fridge. You can say even nowadays we have sensor in bulb itself. LED bulbs are coming with the proper sensor. You can speak and they will start glowing, and if you speak to shut down them or off them, they will directly. Even fan are there, they can recognize your voice and they can do whatever you will say. So like that. So those are the real world things, and those things are connected to each other with networks and maintaining one networks. And why they are connected? They are connected to exchange data. They are basically connected to exchange the data. And if there is connection and exchange of data, we need efficiency improvement. Those should be economically benefit to human beings, and they should reduce human interventions. So these are there. So basically IoT is network of physical devices which has electronic parts, software, sensors, and connectivities used to connect and exchange data, and that should be with less human intervenence. That is IoT. And if you will ask me to provide you the glimpse of why and how we reached at IoT, so that comes under evaluation of IoT and evaluation in the pre-internet era. Humans should talk with human only. हम सब एक दूसरे से बात करते थे. We are not talking with machine. We are not talking with those who are geographically far from us. So there we have telephones also. My mobile phones and telephones are there. SMS are there. But that is just for humans. Humans should talk with human. Then came internet, and that is content which talks to itself. And when internet evolves, the things or the web pages are talking to different web pages. So that is www. Then came web 2, and that is basically for smart platforms and services are there. So we improved ourselves, and then we go for e-commerce, e-productivity, e-schools, e-libraries, e-banking, like things. So there came IT platforms. Those are providing especially for services. Okay, and then came internet of people. So that is social media, Skype, YouTube, Orkut. Previously Google Plus was there. Then Instagram nowadays. You can say Twitter is there. Koo app. Lots of apps are there basically for social. WhatsApp itself is one social media platform. So where you can message and talk to each other. So that is social media, internet of people. And then came internet of things. That is basically machine to machine. When machine are talking to different machines, that comes under internet of things. So this is basically the communication of machine to machine. IoT in short form you can say is IoT is machine to machine communication and data communication among the physical things which no need of human interactions. Okay, so that part is there. You can say when a thing is talking to server, like your remote is talking to your fan, your remote is talking to your bulb in your room, even your mobile is talking to your house itself. Smart houses are there. Okay, and you are controlling each and every aspect, even door opening from AC close and all the things you are doing from your home, your office itself. So that part comes under talk of machine to machine. So that is there in Internet of Things. Any doubt till now? Okay. Then comes what are the building blocks of IoT? So building blocks of IoT is basically IoT Internet of Things are divided into 4 parts. First one is end devices, or you can say nodes also. Okay, I will explain also what comes under end devices and nodes. Then second part is gateways or local processing nodes are there. Then came connectivity, communication channel you can say, upon which machines communicate with different machines. At last, we have cloud-based application and storage. And that is not that much compulsory, but in most of the scenarios, we have some in some of the examples, you can see cloud-based application and storage are not needed, but it can be useful. So 4 parts are there of building blocks of IoTs. You can categorize them. So in first itself, when we are going for building block of IoT, we have end devices or nodes, which comes under sensors, object, RFID tags, which nowadays we are too much using in our car toll taxes. So RFID tags are there. Okay, so in that scenario, you can say your car is just talking to the toll POS itself, and then that POS is charging money from your car and your car is talking to your bank and your bank is providing money to POS, and then the POS has, you can say, open that gate for you, and you are bypassing that gate. So that scenario is there. So it is use of RFID in, and that itself comes under IoT. Then we have actuators are also there. So, and building blocks of the IoT, we have gateways and local processing units also, like IoT readers, signal receivers, transcriptors, middlewares. Those comes under basically local processing units, or you can say gateways. Then we have networks or connectivities. So connectivities, we have different type of protocols, different type of rules and regulations are there, like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, LoRa, Z-Wave, Sigfox. So these are different connectivity protocols, or say communications protocols, which you can use. So some of the sensors which work on the Zigbee communication channels or communication protocols, those follow communications of Zigbee only. Some of them are connected with Wi-Fi, some of them are connected with Bluetooth. So they have their own plus and they have their own minuses also. So we will see how those minuses are creating, how those cons are creating problem for IoT and challenges for IoT. So we will see that part. That's why I'm recalling these things here, because it will give you like how many things are connected. Okay, so at last we have building blocks of IoT. It's basically comes under cloud-based IoT applications, and you can say that IoTs are used in different domains, and each domain have their own application and their own cloud-based storage part, like transport and logistics. You can use fleet management, good tracking. Then utility, smart metering are there, smart grid management are there. So you can use in that also. IoTs are using IoT sensors, and IoT concepts are mainly used for smart cities also, like parking sensors and waste management and all the things. So multi-level parkings are there. In that we are using those. Then smart buildings, smoke detectors, home automation systems are there. So these are basically domains where we can use, like health, agriculture, traffic, smart city, industries, environments. So these also comes under building blocks of IoTs. Any doubt in this? 4. Okay, then I'm going to talk about the layers of IoT. When you will identify these building blocks works upon these building blocks basically construct architecture of IoT, and architecture of IoT has 4 different layers. Okay, the first one is application layer, second one is management layer, then third one is communication layer, and the last one is sensing layer. So the first building blocks, which is basically end devices, that comes on sensing layer. Then second, which is gateways and processing units and communicates, then connectivity, it comes on communication layer. And then we have management layer. Here what we are doing, we are collecting the data which comes from the sensors of IoTs. We use that data to store and analysis on that data. Then we have application layer. So different type of applications are there of IoTs you can do. Now what I'm going to talk about challenges. So till now, if any doubt or any questions comes under your mind, please feel free to ask those here. Then I will explain why I am talking about challenges and why those challenges are related to these layers and building blocks. हमारे यहाँ हिंदी में एक कहावत है, ज्यादा जोगी मठ बिगाड़। तो जितने ज्यादा लोग मिलकर के किसी चीज को क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, उतनी ही प्रॉब्लम्स क्रिएट होंगी. ओके, तो सेम हियर. IoT is not just one thing. IoT is collection of different domains things, and that's why it has more problems and more challenges. And we will discuss some of them, not all. Again, I'm saying not all, because you can't imagine that many challenges are there, and you can work on each and every of them. That is very easy, and research work you can ask some of the scholars to do, and some of the students which you have, so you can ask them to do those work on those challenges, and they can find out, and you can write good research papers and good solutions, provide good solutions for the world. So okay, start with the challenges. So all of the challenges which I personally found in that IoT domain, I characterize them in 5 parts. That is security challenges, the privacy challenges, then interoperability and the standards have challenges, then regulatory, or you can say right issues, legals or government policies itself with challenges. Then we have emerging economic and development issues which we can solve with this IoT concept, and there itself have challenges. So all the challenges which comes for IoT can be categorized in these 5 only. Okay, so first, security. So how, just 2 questions I'm asking here: how to ensure robustness of sensors and lifelong security of IoT products and services. These 2 questions, just asking 2. We will see how and why these are challenges. Same as privacy, we are collecting lots of data. Think just one a strategy needs to be developed that promote transparency and fairness, or user uses of data collection and handling. Just think that your means a simple smart home system is there, and that itself is collecting lots of data, and those who are collecting those data means those companies, or you can say those organizations which are collecting those data, how they are going to protect your privacy. Okay, are they trustworthy? Are they are not going to provide those data to someone else? Okay, so give me 1 minute. It's a very important call. Give me 1 minute, just 1 minute. Sorry guys. Okay, so privacy itself, human privacy, the data which is going to be collected from IoT sensors are one of the problem. Are they are not going to provide that data to someone else? How they are going to use that data? Are they not going to use those data for their own? Are the company is trustworthy? The sensor which is collecting is trustworthy? So that many problems are there, that many challenges are there. That comes under privacy. Then we have interoperability and standard problems. Lots of companies are creating sensors. Some companies are creating sensors for which can communicate with Bluetooth only. Some sensors are connecting with Zigbee only. Some are working on LoRa. So how the data will going to flow from one standard to another level of standard? So that is problem. The voluntary use of open and interoperable, widely available standards are there. Are they are going to provide the concept or the mechanism which help us to flow the data from one to other? Okay, so that is itself one great problem right now we are facing. Then we have regulatory and legal issues and right issues. Government itself is not creating any rules and regulations. Okay, so that's the problem. And when the government is not creating any regulatories, so each and every company comes starting developing their own sensors, their own standards. There is no any particular international standard in this domain because they are following the government's rules. No one is following. No regulatory is there. Only internet society is there that is trying their best to create their own rules and regulations and regulatory structures which should be adopted. But companies are not bounded for that. Companies are not bounded. That's why they are not going to means you can say they are not going to follow that rules and legal issues. So that's the problem. Again, the fifth one is emerging economics. In order to get benefits of the IoTs, it should be unique in need, because if I'm investing in particular sensor or actuators or gateways, that should be beneficially. That should be if I'm applying a smart watering system in my you can say farm, that should be economic. It should not charge high than a normal you can say manual work. So that's the problem. So emerging economics are there, development issues are there. So we have to think should be unique needs and challenges of implementations. Okay, basically those are should be addressed for local, less developed regions, not for the economically more developed regions. So that are the challenges you can use. Then starting from security, you can say poorly secured IoT devices and services, both things. IoT devices is one part, IoT services is the another part. Your software can be hacked and the data can be taken from that software. Even your device itself is purely unsecure. The sensor itself is not secure, and you can hack that sensor and get the data. Okay, so can be used as entry point for cyber attacks. Both can be used. So you should develop a pure secure IoT services and devices. So that part is there, which comes under security, and lots of works have been done by others, and you can also do. I will explain you at last where are the work can be done and where we can do researches in these domains. So and you can say while security is not a new subject for information technology, it comes from the starting itself. It's a very famous quote about security. You are secured until you are not cracked. So there is no any particular algorithm or no any particular security measure that is foolproof. Okay, you can't say that this algorithm is foolproof. You can't break it. Each and every security methods, or you can say algorithms, can be break. Okay, but you are secure if you are until you are not breaked. So that part is there. So but we have to develop lots of the security measures can be developed. You have to provide your proper passwords for that. Okay, once a device is on internet, it becomes the part of internet, and every poorly secured device that is connected has potentially affects the security of the internet globally, not only for him or not only for that device itself. It can provide loopholes to crack the whole network itself, and it can bring down the complete network. So security itself is the biggest issue in the IoT sensors and IoT domain. Okay, so next in this slide, I have provided some of the threats, which in those threats you can work. Physically, attacks can be happen on sensors, the place where you have created or you have applied your sensors. Someone can physically destroy that, so that tamper of hardware and other components can be done. That is physically attacked. Second, environment attacks. Okay, the device encryption key can be discovered by the attackers, and by recovering the encryption and informations, that is environment attacks. Cryptanalysis attacks can be done. Okay, then software attacks can be done. Software bugs, if you have in your service, or Trojan horse or worms are there, so you can easily go inside that data software systems, and then you can bring out that complete data from that software systems. Okay, so that is one attack. So these are the 4 security threats, especially happens on IoT devices. Again, remember, IoT devices only. So you can work on these 4 also. Then we have IoT processes. So I have identified some of the attacks which can be happen on IoT processes, or basically the phases which IoT goes on, from which IoT goes on. So first one is data perceptions, data breaches, leakage, or data loss, or data authentications. The data you are coming from the sensor is authenticated or not. So like that. Okay, so that part is there. The second one is storage, attack on availability. DOS attacks are there. Okay, so distributed denial of services attacks are there. So it will block your availability of data. Then access control, integrity, denial of services. These are the attacks which can be happen on a storage part of the data process, or you can say IoT process. Then we have intelligent processing, attacks on authentications. Okay, so that is possible. So attack can be on particular authentications, it can happen. Then we have data transmissions, the channel which is using for the channel which we are going to use for data transmission, routing protocols. So that can have been hijacked and all. Okay, then end-to-end delivery, man or machine, maker or hacker, that can be attack can be happen, means the person who was delivering end, and that can be hacked. Okay, machine can be hacked, the sensor can be hacked, or the server which the data is going at that end can be hacked. So these many 4 basic, not 4, these are 5, sorry, my mistake. So 5 phases we have different kind of attacks. Okay, then we have IoTs has top 10 you can say errors or vulnerabilities basically on each layers. So I already informed you there are 4 layers of IoT. So first one is application layer, second one is service and support layer, then network layer, then device layer. Then device layer. So 4 layers are there, and these many top 10 vulnerabilities are there which happens on different layers. So insecure web interface, it can be have effect on application interface. It can be have effect on service and support interface layer, then network layer. Okay, if you have insufficient authentication and authorization, it can affect all the 4 layers. Insecure net services, it can affect service support and network layer only. So like this, we have top 10 problems. So these are itself have challenges, and you can try to solve any of them. You can try to create secure web interfaces which can provide interoperability between two sensors and two, or you can say two protocols or two communication channels. Okay. Even you can create your own particular software or firmware which are more secure. So like that, you can uh, uh, provide solutions for these attacks. Privacy. Privacy is too much debatable issues. Some of the organizations are saying the data which we are collecting has no privacy, because the person, means if I am providing my data to some company or some organization, that data is already went to someone and there is no privacy in that. Okay, so
Hello.
if
Good afternoon, sir. सर मैं MITRC से मैकेनिकल डिपार्टमेंट से बोल रहा हूँ सर। आपके बच्चे को बता देना कि कल उसका मिड टर्म है तो कॉलेज जाना है।
okay, so if I'm giving my personal data to some organization, or that data is collected by some organization, is it going to be personal for me? No, I have not made it personal. I should not share my personal things to someone other. And that's the concept which some of the organizations which are supporting, that there is no private data or privacy in human beings. And they are asking that if you have submitted your data to some organization, do you really think that that is personal? No, you have not. That's why you have submitted. If it was personal, you should not submit. But we as a human being are, you can say, bounded. If I have to use GeoSIM because it is very less expensive to use that, I have to provide my Aadhaar number to them. Okay, if I have to use some application, or you can say some app in my mobile, I have to own my location to them. And they are asking, and we are bounded. If we have to use that software or that service, so we have to provide them data. But that data, they are, it's like blackmailing. If you will not provide, you will not use my service. So that's the feature. And there comes same concepts comes in privacy of Internet of Things. If you are using one thing and that is generating one data at your home or at your business place, that data should not be published. It should be with you or the company which is collecting. But who is going to provide that concern, or who is going to address that? Who is going to create one legal policy for that? No one is creating. No, not a single government is talking about this. They are still in on farmer, and they're still on that small issues. Okay, so technologically, you can see even the IT rule or even the IT amendment which have done in our constitution has not yet completed. And we are in IT era from the 90s. So that's the problem. No one is addressing that. No, any organization is fighting for that. So that's the problem. When you are going to realize the opportunity of IoTs, you have to provide your data and you have to secure that data. And privacy is they can oppose a unique privacy problem for those who are completely unaware of their presence. So that's the problem. So you have to provide influence over the organizations or the legal issues or the companies to create and secure your data. So that part is there. Then we have interoperability and a standard itself. I itself told you guys that many. Give me one thing. Yeah, here. So many communication technologies are there. Even in short range, you can see NFC, RFID, ANT, Bluetooth, Zigbee, Z-Web, IEEE 802. Then Wi-Fi is there. Then medium range, we have WiMAX, weightless, -7, in ocean. So many technologies are there, and each and every you can say sensors are working on their own domain. The company who has started or who has supported NFC are working only the sensor which supports NFC. No any particular standard is there. So that itself is one problem. Interoperability can encourage innovations and provide efficiency for device manufacturer and users. But there is no any APIs created or any one is talking about that interoperability should be there across the products or services. There is no. Why they are blocking us to be in the walled garden that is highly owned by one company? So that's the problem. Interoperability is itself one biggest problem and concerns. Proprietaryship, to maintain the proprietaryship of a device and proprietaryship of a particular technology, they are creating that technology should be only help for one communication technology or one prototype hardware. It should not provide data for different hardwares. So like that, it should not work on different OS. So like that, they are creating because to create and to maintain the proprietary of the technologies, but that affects us as a human being to improve or to grow fast. Okay, so that's one problem. We should talk about this. We should ask companies to create interoperability or open sources. We should create APIs that should provide that you can say on open domain itself. We should code and we should provide that open domain, complete open source APIs, which should provide interoperability among hardwares, among operating systems. The data can move easily and fast. So that can be possible. So we should do that to resolve this. Then we have a regulatory and legal and rights issue. IoT raises many regulatory and legal questions as well as amplifies existing legal issues around the internet. Internet itself has lots of person has talked about this. Okay, even and that the policies and legal regulators are not creating proper rules and regulations of that domain, and that's going to be problem for as human to us. One set of issues surrounds cross-border data flow. If my data is going to be cross-border, like even different countries, what's going to be happen in that data? So that is one which occurs when IoT devices collect data about peoples in one jurisdiction and transmit it to another jurisdictions with different data protections law for processing. And what they are saying, the data comes to Singapore, it should be the rules should be applied on what the Singapore government is asking. And if Singapore government is using, you can use any kind, you can sell even that data, that company is selling my data to anyone. The place where they are, and you already know lots of companies are even Flipkart is started by Indians, but they are not in India. They have registered themselves in Singapore just for tax savings and using our own data, which we have created, which we have given to them. Why? Because Indian government don't have any rules for data which generated from the Indians. So that's the problem, and no one is talking about that. Further, the data collected by the IoT devices is sometimes susceptible to misuse, potentially causing very big problems for that user. And no one is talking, no one is providing any legal liabilities to the companies or any destruction policy. That data is collected once used, after you have to delete that data or destruct that data. No one is talking about that. So security breaches are there, privacy lapses are there. So that's the problem, and that are going to be challenges of IoTs. Yes, internet society, which is you can say throughout the world, it is asking or promoting that's or guiding the companies to create the regulatories to provide the legal support to the users. It speaks, it connects and innovates and share different type of rules and regulations to create by organizations or companies, and especially for the governments, they are asking to create a collaborative governance approach. So internet society is working. I'm the lifetime member of that, so I personally know that there are conferences about this, there are workshops about this, so they are working on this domain. But that should be very, very less. It's like 1% of the problem. But at least someone is fighting, that's good. Then emerging economics and development issues is one problem. IoT promises lots of achievements. Okay, it can help us. It can help us in sustainable agriculture. It can help us to improve water quality, health care, industrializations, then environmental managements and other very, very domains which are there. It can help us. But due to some of the problems, some of the economic causes, we are not using that. Very, very less transport companies have fleet management in their trucks, you can say. And they are not thinking of that because why? The sensors and the cost of operating that fleet management is little bit high. That's why they are not using, and due to that they are creating lots of the pollution for us. If they have fleet management and proper management, they can save environment, they can save means they can reduce pollution among them. If just like that, because why they are not using that, cost of the product or the cost of the sensors are high. Okay, and that's why that are not economic friendly. Okay, so less developed economics are not that much thinking about that IoT devices and all. So that's the problem. United States UN, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are there, and they have to support. Okay. So we should try to bring economic sensors, economic data centers, economic softwares, open source softwares. So that's wireless lines or wired lines should be, internet connectivity should be less costly. So that is one problem, and that should attract investment in IoT systems and services. And then only we can use or provide better environment for development of IoT's service and systems. So that is there, and still these 5 I discussed. So anyone have doubt about these 5? You can discuss here. Otherwise, I can go further more challenges. Am I audible to you guys? Okay. So now some of the challenges which basically I already discussed in this, but some of the challenges are still there, like connectivity challenge. Connectivity means the sensor. These are the challenges which I just now talked are basically are from the view of whole IoT systems. But now what the challenges I'm going to talk are basically with IoT hardwares and services. So a particular problem is associated with just with some of the part of complete system, not with the whole. Like connectivity. So the sensors are connected to data centers. Are they connected to? And that connectivity is 24/7 into 365. Is that possible? So that is one problem. That is one problem. How to connect the system to sensor or sensor to the system, or how to create connectivity from one machine to another machine, and that connectivity should not break. That connectivity should be 24/7 into 365 days. And then continuity. The second continuity part is because all the sensors are running on battery backups. Okay, so are they going to work 24/7? Is that possible? As less edge battery they will use, so they should provide their service in continuous manner. And that is one problem. That is one challenge of IoTs. Still, we have to work on different domains of you can say what to say, that battery backups and all. Okay, so that the device or the sensor should work continuous without breaking their continuity. Then compliance. Compliance itself is one big problem. Are they complying to the legal format, legal standards? No. Even just now, before some time, India has banned 5G company which Huawei. Why? Rest of the world also have banned because their products which they are creating are not compliant to different countries' rules. So that's why they have blocked them to provide the 5G services. So it's happened because lots of big companies are shouted on them. Very big small companies are creating different sensors. Are they compliant? No. So who are going to check their compliance? That's one problem. Then coexistence. I created one sensor. You also have created one sensor. Are both can work in same domain with at same label? Are they going to be coexisted in this IoT network? So that's one problem. So that we have to check. Then cyber security. All the network is talking about internet itself, and internet itself has the biggest problem of security. So who is going to take care of that secure network or that secure device or that secure who is going to take care of that threats? So that is one problem. Then scalability. Scalability is one problem of you can say how we can scale, how much big network one protocol can support. If there is 10 sensors applied, is it possible to include without any hindrance or without any disturbance to the previous 10 one more? So that is scalability. Okay, then interoperability. Interoperability is itself, as I told you, coexistence had the same concept of interoperability. The data which is sensed by one sensor should go to another sensor, and that another machine should provide that data to server or another machine. So interoperability of data and interoperability of different sensors should be there. Lack of government support, that is the biggest problem. That really is a biggest problem in this domain. Government are not talking about any kind of support to these IT issues. And very proudly, each and every government is saying that we are in IT era. But no one is providing that supports to different small companies, and as a user you don't have any rights on your own data which you have created. That's the problem. So lack of government support is there. Compatibility of various IoT system is there. So they should be compatible to rules and regulations and legal issues. Authentication and identification. The sensor which created the data is authenticated or not, it is hacked or not, means the hacker has hacked that sensor and it is providing the data through that sensor to you, and you are very happy that, oh, I got the data. Who will authenticate that data is correct or not? It came from authenticated source or not? So that's one problem. So you can work on that. Then integration of IoT points with IoT softwares. Very problematic things are there. Very less open source softwares are there. Each and every company which has developed their own sensor or their own devices, IoT devices, they have created their own softwares, and that system and software will work together only. And if you have to purchase Raspberry Pi, you have to use that operating system itself. You can't use another operating system. If you are using Arduino, you have to use only one operating system, and you can't use another operating system on that. So that's the game. They are playing with us for proprietary monetary to generate money for themselves. So one problem is there, integration of IoT points to IoT softwares. Then IoT data storage challenges are there. So storage itself is one biggest problem because sensors are very small. How much data, not many, how much data they can store, and how they are going to provide the data to storage points. So that one is one challenge. Then unstructured data processing, because the sensors are collecting the data in unstructured format. They don't have any particular format of them for themselves, and how you can process the data which are unstructured, that is itself in problem domain in big data. So big data itself, we have one unstructured data processing problem. So that came from there to IoT domain. Then we have incorrect data capture difficulties, sensing problem. The sensors which have sensed the data, is that data is accurate or not? Just think that I am sensing, I have applied some sensors in my agriculture farm to collect the data about soil, and that sensor is providing some data to me. That's good. How much accurate data that sensor is providing, I don't know. I just have went to shop and purchased one sensor and applied that sensor, and how much data it is collecting accurate or not. So that is problem. The sensing, after applying, maybe it is working good, and after some time it started doing some problems came in, and how to sense that problem. That's the one problem. Data security issues are there. Personal privacy of user. That is biggest problem. I just talked about that. Then self-organization. Self-organization means that sensor which are there should self-organized. Self-organized means that if the problem came to that sensor or that network, it should organize, or it should use that problem. It should solve that problem by themselves, or it should inform the manager, or you can say the environment, that I have problem. So that's the big problem. Self-organizing systems should be there. identity management, already it comes under identifications, is there. So identity management is like how to manage identity of each and every sensor, and those sensors are providing data to how to tag the data with particular sensor. That is one problem. Insecure interfaces are there. So interfaces are there, but if they are insecure, so it can break whole network or it can break the whole services for yourself. Poor IoT device management is there. Then IoT skill gap. Still, we are not teaching our students IoT, and that's going to be problem for IoT skill gap skills. So in future, it should be talked. We should start teaching our students IoT and how they can solve different problems along with IoT. So IoT skills are not with our students, and we have very less skill sets. Okay, very less 10 people are there in this. So this is one problem. And apart from this, if you will ask me, I can provide you more than 50 to 60. Some of them I have collected, which I personally felt in this after working in this domain. And a lot more challenges are still there in this domain. Okay, any doubt till now? If you want to ask something, so you can ask. Okay, so now I'm going to discuss about some of the research needs or especially scope of IoT. Means where we can apply these IoT works in real world applications. The first itself is rapid urbanization is going to be happen. There is prediction by United Nations that 6.3 billion people will live in sitting or surrounding areas by 2050. And it's going to be overburden our cities. It should increase pressure on city infrastructure. We already know that Mumbai has lots of problems. Who is solving that? How we can solve that problem by using smart sensors and smart cities. Modi has announced that we are going to create 100 smart cities. I have not seen any after 3 or 4 years. No any improvement is there. Okay, so it's not going to help us if we will not work really. Without on paper, it should reflect on our own world. It should not reflect on paper that we have invested that much money to improve and smart cities and to solve the problem of rapid urbanization. Rapid urbanization is one of the biggest problem is this world which going to happen, and still some of the biggest cities are handling and getting problem. You can see New Delhi has too much pollution, and that pollution came from the population, which has created pressure on that city infrastructure. Okay, so it really hard to maintain the quality of life, and we should work on this. So one of the application which where IoT can help us is rapid urbanization's problem. Second one is energy. Energy demands will increase and power cuts will be there. And that's why we need to be a smart grids, a smart metering, and that should be on large scale, not on just one city or one domain. And to save energies, how we will save that energy should be there. Okay, and if we will use less world energy, we will we will decrease the greenhouse gases emissions, and we will manage carbon footprint, and that is going to affect our child. We have used this earth very large, massive scale. Now we have to save this earth for our child. Still there is no any planet where we can survive except this earth. So we have to save this just, and there we can use IoTs. So water resources is going to be biggest problem of this. And you should be very, we all know, we already have seen lots of tapping water leakages, and those water we are wasting. So we should organize some IoT sensors, or we should put some sensors in that, so that we can manage water resources, the consumptions we can decrease. That's where IoT can help. And in these domains, we can apply some IoT sensors, and all applications of IoT can be happen. We have urban traffic related problems. It creates conjunctions, it creates pollutions, it creates negative experience altogether. Very low traffic flow, poor traffic flow are there. So we have to create a smart signal systems just to maintain that. So these are the things where IoTs can help. Parking problem is there. So that is one domain where we can use. People looking for parking creates additional traffic conjunctions. Limited parking places are there. Waste of time, waste of fuel to find a simple parking. Even a loss of revenue for the businesses. Why? If you will start going in the city with car, you have to park that. We have to park that car, and that's a bigger problem. Okay, and the business houses will lose because we are not purchasing from them, because we are afraid to go to city to purchase something. We started booking something on online. Why to go to city, and why to waste our time to park somewhere and then pay? Why not to purchase online? That person will deliver us. So that loss for the business houses and local businesses. Then we have public safety. We can use IoT sensors in that. Public safety, places of poor records become unattractive for citizens. We should provide that records. We should install some of the cameras, some of the monitoring ways. Okay, and that will start providing attraction to the secureness for the public, and then the citizen will start going there, and the growth will particular for that area, it will increase. So that's the part. So where we can use IoTs in that domain also. And above all, why governments and different human beings or all are not using? The problem I just talked about that. Economic. It should be economic. And that's the way, then only the person will start using that. If I have less money, so I can ask my colony people to install cameras. If the cost will be higher, I will not ask. They will also laugh on me. Why he is asking that? We should not invest that much money. So that's the thing. So public safety is one more concern about that, where we can use city lighting. Lighting is biggest problem to maintenance and all. So we can use that. Lights are not intelligently operated. Even after so many students, our students in Manipal University have created some of a smart sensing lights are there, and when you will cross the road, it will glow. When you will not, there is no any object on that road, it will not glow, it will be dim. So light intensity they can maintain. Then again, when it's becoming day in morning, the light will automatically switch off. When it's going to be dark in evening, the light will automatically glow or start on. So that are the way we can use, and it should be on massive scale, not on just project of one student. Okay, so it should be on massive scale, and government should think about that. Okay, so these are some of the applications which we have discussed now. Now what I'm going to discuss are some of the research area which are going to be beneficial for faculty members. In these domains you can work. Okay, so any doubt till now? Any doubt till now?
No, sir. No doubt, sir.
Okay, sir. So next generation IoT should provide secure systems, and how you can provide secure systems. The holistic security capability covering the whole life cycle of an IoT system and its components are needed, as we already discussed just now, and that's going to be future of IoT systems. Development of new threats, analytics, and risk managements, as well as self-healing capability to detect and defeat potential attacks are required. Okay, and how you are going to develop that self-healing capability? So you have different algorithms, we have different softwares which can identify different attacks and defeat them. So we have to code those algorithms and those services, particularly for less battery backup systems like IoT sensors and all. The sensor itself should fight with the threat. Okay, the threat comes to sensor and sensor should itself detect the threat and fight with that. That should be there. That's one way with for self-healing capabilities to detect and defeat the potential attack. Okay, are required for particularly IoT systems. Future of IoT systems should be able to quickly and appropriately respond to threats and attacks. Okay, and their machine learning algorithms can help us. Different machine learning algorithms can help us for real-time threat analytics to perform, and then that can be detected that threat is coming to us, or this is threat for us, and blocking that and defeating that potential attacks. Okay, so machine learning along with IoT can help us to develop future IoT systems. Okay, development of test-based and monitoring-based continuous securities audit methods is one domain where we can work. Okay, which support dynamic assessment of real-time security level of different IoT systems, which are very much required, and that's going to be help in future. That is next generation security. And these continuous audit methods, okay, should be assessed with various heterogeneous IoT components. Okay, with a wide, broad range, not just for one system or one solution or one sensor. It should work on all the different heterogeneous IoT components. Okay, and that one audit method itself, not different audit methods should be there for different components. One audit method should be there for all the different IoT components. Okay, and it should be lightweighted. Here we can do PhD works and research work. Okay, you can ask your scholars to develop one lightweighted approach, which should be real-time security assessment and dynamically assessment of real-time security, and continuously audit method should be there for different type of IoT sensors. So you can ask your research scholars to do on this, work on this, and you can develop one platform and you can start providing services to different companies and IoT sensors builders. Then we have IoT. This is basically in three different approaches what I have discussed here. Okay, in security. Now I'm discussing something about data confidentiality. So two type of encryptions are more useful, which I identified in IoT sensors. So one is homomorphic encryptions and second one is searchable encryption. The homomorphic encryption schemes, basically what they are, they make it possible to perform mathematical operation on cybertext, and those comes under homomorphic encryption techniques. So if as a result, using fully homomorphic encryption data analytics on encrypted data or searching on data should be performed without revolving search patterns, and that's going to be help to secure or confidentiality to particular data. And authentication, authorization, both can be identified or both can be given to data just with the help of homomorphic encryption. So you can apply some homomorphic encryption techniques on data, and that code itself should run on particularly sensor or the system. That's one way. Then searchable encryption can be applied in IoT domain. Searchable encryption schemes allow a storage provider to search for keywords or patterns in encrypted data. Encrypted data itself, in that you can search for different keywords or patterns. Okay, and while keyword searches can perform, the stored data cannot be decrypted. Okay, it should not be decrypted. Without decrypting that data, you have to search for keywords, and that is searchable encryption algorithms. So you can apply that. Okay, and it is not possible to gain any knowledge on underlying plain texts. So that's the one problem. And in this domain, you can use searchable encryption techniques to generate data confidentiality in IoT sensors or IoT systems. So these two encryption techniques can be used, and here we have to work, and you can do research on this. Trust building. Trust building itself is one of the biggest problem of the IoT sensors and IoT systems. So we can develop different type of work or different type of trust. Sorry.
एक घंटा से ज्यादा हो गया, 1.5 घंटा।
Sorry. So in trust building or trust establishment among the sensors, among the sensor and system or machine to machine, we can have different algorithms. Lightweighted trust establishment algorithms are required. Because why lightweighted? Because system or sensors has less battery backups. They should not utilize too much energy, because if you will, they will utilize too much energy, they can't be maintain the continuity of their service. So that's why they should use less energy, and less energy will provide them backups for long terms, and they can work or they can provide continuity in their services. So that's why we need lightweighted trust establishment algorithms. Current trust establishment solutions mainly focus on establishing trust in public keys and their assignments to user. But future IoT solution will need trust in transaction and agreements, not among just users. It should be among transactions. Means once I done transaction with you, that should have trust establishment once. For the next agreement or next transactions, again we have to create the trust. Okay, and there we need different algorithms. Nowadays, what we have, trust are among users. One, you are trusted to me. We will start doing transactions, and that should we go for 100 or 10s or 50s transactions? But we in IoT solutions, we need trust about for one transactions or one agreement, then as well as trust in the integrity of device and platform also. So at both level we need trust establishments. So we need algorithms for there, and that is one problem and where we can do research as academicians. We can provide solutions to the world and do research in this domain. Trust in transactions, as I discussed, where we can take help of blockchain-based protocols. Blockchain basically based protocols basically help in trust establishment itself. So it's gaining proper popularity in this domain. So we can use that blockchain building based protocols in our own IoT trust infrastructures, and there it can help us. So you can generate one complete system which is based on best blockchain based protocols, and it's provide trust among the sensors. So there is one domain, so you can use that. Trust in platforms. Platforms should be trusted to each others. Okay, as a hardware and all. So two type of different trusts are there. One in IoT, one is part is hardware and second part is software. So hardware remote attestations and software remote attestations. Two things are there. Both provides trust establishment among platforms. So there needs to be something developed, because hardware assessments, hardware remote assessments are basically costlier. So we need software remote assessment attestations that where we need white box cryptography and code ubications and all the things. Control flow integrity technologies should be there. So we need that part, can be used in platform trusting or trust building in platforms. Then identity managements. Identity managements also have some problem, as I told you, in authentication and identifications. So there we can provide identity and access management systems that we know provide secure and integrated management of data from different devices and systems. So in autonomous data exchanges among different entities are expected to be controlled based on advanced securities and trust management technologies. So we can create those autonomous data exchange algorithms for identity management. So these are basically in trust. Then we have privacy. Okay. So in privacy, we have privacy through data usage control and privacy in multifaceted and dynamic context. So two labels are there. So privacy through data usage control are basically the extension of traditional access control concept. So traditionally, access control concepts are there where we provide the access to a particular user profile, like privilege are granted in DBMS, like that concept, like read, write, update, delete, insert. These type of accesses provided to user profiles, and so data usage controls are one of the extension of that, those traditional access control concepts. So future data usage control technologies will extend traditional controls, access controls concepts to track and label data. And here you can very much use fine granular usage restrictions, okay, to enforce privacy property over the large data sets. Okay, so future IoT systems should implement will be needed for control locally controlled data exposures. Means the server, or not the server, the sensor itself should control the access of data, which it is generated by themselves. Okay, and there should be one interface for that, which guarantee the end-to-end privacy. So you can work on these domains. Then privacy in multi-phases and dynamic context are there. When services from a utility company, the device manufacturer or the application provider access the data, it results in additional attack surfaces. Okay, once you created the data and data has multiple copies, the more it can be attacked. Additional attack surfaces are there for breaching confidentiality of the user data. From the data owner's point of view, services with consequential access of user data are still all potential advisories. ठीक है, तो इसमें बेसिकली क्या है कि आप एक डेटा को अगर मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स पे रखते हैं तो मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स में से किसी ना किसी एक पॉइंट पर अटैक किया जा सके। आप मल्टीपल पॉइंट्स पे न रख करके उस डेटा को कंप्लीटली एक पॉइंट पर रखें, एंड दैट कैन बी डन, एंड वी शुड प्रोवाइड वन APIs. With the help of those APIs, you can access the data. The device manufacturer can access, the application service provider can access, the utility company can access the same data from the one single point, and it will reduce the attack surface. Okay, so that is there, and we need to require IoT platforms will require new advanced services and technologies to enforce accurate data access control. And that is one research area. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So if you have doubt about the complete session, you can ask here.